So far it's abstract. I'll make it more concrete in a sec. Any questions about that idea? We just relied on the fact, that when we multiplied this sine wave by this sine wave, we got the sum and the different frequencies. And that's what gave us these things that are centered around the so-called carrier frequency down to 995 to 1,000. This 1,000 kilohertz, that's the station ID. Some of you still have old-fashioned radios that have AM in your car. You might tune in a station which is station 880, for example. Station 880 means 880 kilohertz. That might be the most powerful AM station you get here in Princeton. Station 1010 would be 1,010 kilohertz, for example, as the carrier frequency. And so this carrier here, this high frequency here, that's the station. And then at the receiving end, well, let me just leave it like this for a minute. I'm going to redraw this picture and shrink it down. These pictures are all on your notes of handouts. So here's, again, this is frequency in this direction. And here would be 1,000, that's our station number. And we go from 995 to 1,005 for one station. And we could put another station over here. Here's, for example, station 1020. 1020, if I have another voice going out at 1020, it would, let's see, it would go to, it require frequencies from 1015 to 1025. So that would be station 1, and this would be station 2 at 1020 kilohertz. This is frequency. And what happens at the receiver? We have, as I said, we have the antenna at the receiver. We have our antenna, and then we get a voltage from the at the receiver as a function of time. And the voltage at the receiver that we get as a function of time is going to have these frequencies, and it's going to have these frequencies in it. Because all these different stations are transmitting at once, and I put my antenna up there, I measure the electric field, which is a superposition of all these frequencies. But I don't want to listen to one. I only want to listen to one. So what happens is we put this through basically a frequency filter. People call this a band pass. Meaning, let's say we could set it for 995 to 1,005. And then what comes out are the station 1 frequencies. This will give us a station 1 signal. Because this is all, these are all waves from station 1. So if I set my filter to allow that band of frequencies through, I'll get the station 1 signal in. So this is just what station 1 sent, and somehow I need electronics to find the original V audio of T, which electronics can do that. I won't go into how it does it, but it can. So if you take all these waves, you stick them back into some circuit, and it can go backwards, and you can find from that, you get the original V audio of T comes out. And then this goes to a speaker. So this means find, we use the word recover. It can recover the original V audio of time. So that the Questions? What you do when you tune in your radio is you said, just ignore all of these frequencies, high and low, and just take the waveform that's coming in between 995 and 1005 when you're listening to station 1000. And then you have the signal, which was exactly what the transmitter said. And then you can, a circuit can work backwards and find the original audio signal. And if you want to listen to this station, you change this filter, you tune the filter and say, let's listen to frequencies between here and here. Then you get this signal back out, station 2 signal back out because it's in that frequency range. And then the receiver can go back and find the original audio signal for that. The problem is, if I make these stations too close together, let's say station 2 was at, 1005, and station 2 would be here. Station 2 was at 1005. Or I could put a station 3 here at 1005. That would say between these two frequencies, 1000, 1005, I've got signals from station 1 and signals from station 3. So when I try to adjust my radio just to get the signals from here, I'm also going to get station 3 added on top of it. And then I've got two signals at once coming in. That's like two people speaking at once. And the receiver can't figure out, well, it's going to tell you the wrong thing if you ask what station 1 is sent. I think if you imagine two people speaking at once, it's clear you can't figure out what the person's trying to say. You have to keep them separated, which means you want each station to have its own set of frequencies and not be in the same place. So what that says is, if I want to transmit speech, for example, if I want speech, from, let's say, 0 to 5 kilohertz, my stations must be 10 kilohertz apart. So one would use radio waves, as I said, 995 to 105, then we're going to have another one from 105 to 115, we have a third one from 115 to 125, 1025. And we know that in real life we turn radio knobs to tune in different frequencies. So what does that do with data? Well, we know how it works with the voice. Suppose I want to send, I have some bits. And I want to send 0, 0, say 1, 0, 0, 1, maybe another 1, 0, 0, and so forth. So I want to send bits. And you could imagine the same thing. You could have a carrier wave, which is off, the carrier wave is on, off, off, on, off, and so forth. So this would be, instead of the audio signal, some kind of voltage to represent the bit, and this would be the AM signal, where that's the high frequency and it's turned on and off by the bit. And that would go out over the radio. Your wireless internet or your cell phone. And it should be clear that if you wanted to send bits, say the highest frequency, that might be the highest rate of sending bits on and off. So it was on, off, on, off, on, off. And what would go out, this would sort of be like having speech which went up, came down, and up, came down, came up, came down, came up, went down. So the bit rate, there's a lot of math involved, but the bit rate you could send is on the order of the maximum speech frequency. For a similar case for speech transmission. So that meant on my AM radio, I could send bits at something like, if we assume a speech content of 5 kilohertz, I would send bits, the rate of bits would be on the order of 5,000 per second, and that requires 10 kilohertz of bandwidth. And if I wanted to send bits faster, to turn bits on and off at a faster rate, I would need a higher frequency content in that signal, and that would cause my radio station to require more frequency. So the key point of all this is the amount of information I can send. The amount of information I can send depends on the frequency range around the carrier. If I want to send things at a high frequency, that means I need a high frequency content of my signal, and this is omega carrier. Well, I was calling it omega audio, I could call it omega data, and this would be omega carrier plus omega audio, which I could be related to the data. And the faster I want to send the data, the more frequency spectrum I'm going to need in what I send out. So that's all a bit mathematical, but the main point in the end is the rate I send information requires I have some piece of frequency range which I have all to myself. Because if someone else is trying to use that same frequency range, they're going to be in my way. It's sort of like saying one person has red light and they're turning on and off a red light signal. Another person is blue light, they're turning on and off a blue light signal. Another person is green light and turning on and off a green light signal. But the act of turning that light on and off, the act of turning the light on and off, changes its frequency content. It's not just green, but it's got some yellow-green and some blue-green mixed in, and the faster I turn it off, it requires more and more wavelengths. So I have to space my different stations farther apart. Most of you have cell phones. Most of you know it takes time to download something. It doesn't happen instantly. That's because the cell phone company, each cell phone company, went to the federal government and said, I want to use, let's say, one company might want to use, let's say, for example, 1.9 to 1.95 gigahertz, which is the same thing as saying 1900 to 1950 megahertz. And this might be, that might be Verizon. And some of the AT&T phones, they may have negotiated to 1950 to 2000 megahertz in Princeton, for example. So, this is what Verizon has. They have 50 megahertz bandwidth from their low frequency to their high frequency. From their low frequency to their high frequency, the low frequency to their high frequency, they've got 50 megahertz. And some of these guys have 50 megahertz. So what the spectrum looks like, for example, is, let's see, here's 1900, here's 1950, and here's 2000.